everybody, it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. Okay, so I've been working on the journal that I showed you the papers for in my return video, the video that I recorded and uploaded sharing the beautiful digital papers from AntiquePaperie that I want to use in my next journal, and to let you know that I'm back on YouTube, back recording. I haven't been away from the craft room, but I hadn't recorded and uploaded for some time due to internet problems. So anyway, I've been busy getting things ready. I did mention in that last video that I had a cover prepared that I could use. Once I finished recording that, I realized that the cover I have has a much wider spine than I needed, so I've made this one up today. I love it. It's so pretty. It's in line with the covers that I usually make. I tend to have a go-to and it takes me to my happy place, so I decided to make this one the same. Now, I wanted to talk with you about styling. So, as you know, I love vintage. I love to ink everything. Distress ink is my favorite. I'm finding as I'm working through this journal that it is taking on a life of its own, and it's questioning my style. So I usually have certain things that I follow, like inking, and I don't know, there's something about this particular journal that's saying don't ink. It's saying keep things light and airy, and which is so different to what I'm used to doing. So I have the outside of the cover prepared. I am working on the inside, and I'll show you where I'm up to, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So as you see, I haven't put anything on the inside of my cover. Just make sure I've kind of moved things around on my desk, so I'm hoping that's okay. So I've made the cover, but I haven't put the inside papers in, and I printed the papers that I wanted. So I've taken the papers from the background kit. Take those out for a moment. And I selected this one. I did actually print, if I can find it, I did actually print the blue as well, and all I did was sit them inside the cover with my signature to decide what look I wanted, and I decided that I like the neutral. Don't ask me why, I can't tell you, I just did. So I'm going to lay those in there, and I'm going to pop that over the top, I've decided. So that will be the inside of my signature. Now, my dilemma. When I was preparing the signatures, I have used an air-dried tea stain paper because I kind of felt like it went with these papers. And in line with that, I feel like inking them makes them a lot darker than I really want them to be. I feel like the colors are all light and airy, and that's not necessarily, or inking isn't necessarily the look I'm after. So I was like, maybe I won't ink. Shock, horror, I was surprised. And I think I'm having an internal struggle with that, because inking is what I know, inking is what I do. So then I started the cover, and I really loved the uninked look, and I couldn't decide whether I should ink or not, and I'm ready to glue my papers down, so I kind of am at the point where I have to make a decision, and I can't decide. So I've hopped on here to chat with you all about it. So what I did do was I had a printed paper here it's a different kit, but it's one of the papers that I've used in the signatures. So I should show you actually, sorry. I have the Love Paris collection papers and the Tea Junk Journal pages. And I've done 3 prints back to back from each set of papers. And so what I've done is I've put a Love Paris collection paper back to back and a tea back to back in each signature. So I have the outside is in the beautiful AntiquePaperie paper, and then I have some tea stain paper. I have a little bit of the baking paper, and then in the center of the signature I have the alternate paper. So I'm not sure where I was heading with that. Oh my goodness. So I had those already. I decided I wasn't going to ink because I really like them the way they are. The tea stain papers are light and airy, and they have that little bit of white showing through, which again is not something I usually do, but I definitely feel like they worked with these papers. So now I'm at, do I ink or don't I ink? So I had this piece here. It was a mistaken print because it didn't print where it should have, and I decided to ink the edge. Now I did that partly because I was wondering at the time whether I could use them still even though it has the white border around it. So I inked it up to try and disguise the white border a little bit, thinking maybe I would just cut the white piece off and use it, or maybe I would ink that and collage over it. When I put it in here with these papers, I didn't love it. I didn't love that dark edging. And I think I'm talking myself out of inking again while I'm talking to you about it. Is that what you're telling me? I don't know. But I didn't love it. So I put it aside. And this is what I'm left with. Now, the next phase for me was choosing laces. And usually I have a go-to, in case you hadn't noticed. So usually my go-to is this beautiful crocheted lace. I just love it. I love the color. It marries beautifully with my cover because I can't calico. It marries beautifully with my calico cover, and I love that color. I just love that color. So it's usually my go-to, but when I put it on here, it felt really heavy and not dark, but it was heavier than what I was looking for or what I had in mind. So once again, I broke my own rules, popped that aside, and I went through my laces, and I have these. Oh, not that one. That's oh dear, I think he wants to be a lace. Okay, so I had these, and I'm thinking I'm going to use these in each of my signatures. Again, not the look I'm usually after. And I just finished cutting these, and I was like, I don't know if I want to ink. So while I was having this struggle, I was like, maybe I should just hop on on YouTube. Maybe I should just start a video and talk it out with you guys. So I haven't attached my laces, and I just want to paper clip them on. I don't actually know which order I want them, so I'm making this up as I go. I do like to start with a neutral. I don't know why. I think because I have the neutral cover, I like to start with a neutral, just because I feel like it ties it in. It's a personal preference. So I thought I would put these laces, excuse me, I have a croaky voice today. just on the pattern paper. And I'm going to alternate. So my plan is to stitch these on at this stage, unless I change my mind about that too, because everything I'm doing at the moment is kind of breaking my own, they're not rules, but it's my style, you know, it's my go-to. So the fact that I'm thinking so differently to my style, I don't know whether it's because of the papers, which are absolutely gorgeous, and I'm loving them so much, or whether it's because I've had that little break from my crafting. I've got no idea. It's surprising to me that I don't want to ink. So I just thought I'd chat with you about stepping outside of your comfort zone, because that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing. It's not kind of, it actually is what I feel like I'm doing. But I'm really loving the result so far. Obviously I have a ways to go. I haven't started making ephemera yet, so that will be my next dilemma, because I'm like, do I ink or don't I ink? The other thing I did consider, which I haven't done, is just a really slight ink around the outside. So basically just running my inker that way, just to get the very end of the paper. I haven't decided on that yet either, which is why I haven't glued in my end papers on my cover, because if I do that on here, I feel like I probably need to do it on there. But I don't think I want to, which makes me think I shouldn't do it here. Can you see the dilemma I'm having? And the fact that these, oh, my belly is growling. I'm so sorry. How embarrassing. It's almost tea time, and I've ducked out to the craft room to have a little play before tea. Perhaps I should have eaten first. While I'm adding these laces, which again are all very soft, and I don't know that airy is the right word, but they have a delicateness about them is what I'm thinking. While I'm adding these, lost my train of thought again. Oh, how easily that happens. Probably because I'm hungry. As I'm adding these laces, and because they do have a delicateness about them, I feel like that's tying in with the uninked version of these papers. So I kind of feel like that's tying the fact that they're not inked in as well. It's very strange to me. Very, very peculiar. But I love it. I really, really love it. Okay. I've been having a busy time tea staining using the air dry method. I actually have some more papers laid out on my table drying at the moment, and hoping they will be ready to pop away before I go to bed tonight, which I think they will be. It's quite warm here today, which gives me a nice little stash. Hubby's been away, so it gave me an opportunity to spread my things out, basically. Shh, don't tell him. So it's giving me a little stockpile too, which is great. And I was going to show you, actually, I don't know if you can see the wrinkle in the paper here when I tea stained. So I tea stained using a similar method to what a similar method to what Andrea Allen from ARTYmaze uses, where she has her her cup of tea and a paintbrush. And basically my first sheet, I wipe with tea, I turn it over, I wipe over the top, then I do another one, and I sort of spread them out a little bit to start with, but then I start stacking on top of each other. After I've done a couple, I don't do the bottom of the sheets. I just lay them over the top to pick up whatever tea is on the top of the pile. And I love the way they come out with this uneven. I have had to play with colour with some of these too, but this, it's tea stain, but there's still some white showing through. And again, that's very different to anything I've used before. Mostly I do my tea staining in the oven and the whole sheet is tea stained. So I did it that way because I thought it would look really beautiful with these papers. So I have been playing with that concept while I've been doing it and developing a style. Is that the right word? A technique. Developing my own technique to achieve the results I want to achieve, which leads me to something else. I'm not getting very far with these laces because I'm just chatting with you. Sorry about that, guys. It's probably not very interesting, but I was going to chat with you about playing. New Year's resolution, not necessarily a resolution. I was thinking about it while I was unable to upload videos. I put my projects that I was working on, as I mentioned, on hold, and I played with a few different things. Nothing major, no major project for sure, nothing like that. Just bits and pieces. I made a little bit of ephemera. I had a little play with some watercolor, which I haven't finished. I played with some tea staining. Just bits and pieces, and it was lots of fun. And I was like, it's been a long time since I've actually just popped into my craft room and had a play. So that being said, I'm thinking maybe I need to allocate myself a day, maybe a day a week, maybe a day a fortnight or a month. I haven't decided yet, but a day, a fun day, a play day. I haven't decided what to call it yet, but where I just pop into my craft room and I don't work on any particular project. I just play. So I don't know whether I'll record my play days or, oh, isn't that pretty? That is so delicate. I love that. Yes, it's all coming together. Obviously, they're not sitting exactly where they need to sit, but once I sew them in, I can take care of that. So I will sew those on off camera. I don't know, guys. I'm really steering towards not inking these papers. So while I'm sitting here pondering that, decision making is not my strong point. I wanted to have a play with, I've mentioned before, one of my go-tos in my journals is to pop a tuck spot on the back signature. Back page of the signature, usually on the tea stain paper, not on the pattern paper. Oh, the other thing I did was reprint my pattern papers. So when I was talking to you and I showed you the papers that I had them printed on paper because I couldn't get the double-sided printing to work on the card, and I was going to go ahead with that. And I'm just looking, I popped Where did I pop it? I was going to go ahead with that until... Okay, I'm looking for another piece of paper, but I can't locate it, so I'll show you this. These are the papers that I cut. I cut them using my paper cutter, my Fiskars paper trimmer. And I've mentioned to you before that the blade keeps losing its sharpness and won't cut properly, and it literally shredded my papers, and I wasn't happy with them. Usually I like that torn paper look, but I don't know. Apparently I have a vision in my head for this journal, and it wasn't working for my vision, and I just didn't know that I had a vision at the time, so I reprinted them, and I ended up putting them on the cardstock. I had to, not that it makes any difference to you guys, but I had to print each side separately and manually feed the paper through, but it was totally worth it because it gave me the look I was after. So just so that you know that, I did have a separate cover that I was playing with to use. It again wasn't working for me, so oh, and I also had the other cover. So this is the cover that I've played with, and I will use this for another project. I'm all over the shop, sorry guys. Apparently getting back into this crafting thing will take some time. Oh, I hope that was working. My battery's low. It's a, what is it? It's a suspension folder. No, it's a manila folder, but it's a white, it's much thicker than your regular manila folder. So it's a white manila folder, and I glued it together. So it's the front and the back of the folder, and glued together and then cut to size. And it makes a really lovely journal cover. But there was something about it that I wasn't happy with for this project, so I'm going to do something with that for a future project. I haven't decided what yet. Got my thinking cap on. Okay, now I think I've got you up to speed. I'm hoping that my battery is okay. I didn't actually see. I think I may stop the camera and have something to eat and then pop back, because I have a funny feeling that my battery was on 10%. So I'll be back shortly, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye. Hello, I'm back again. So I have no idea where I left off. I didn't check. I do want to make some tucks. I need to work out actually how big I want. I think I might make it 2.5 inches, and I believe my page is 8.5, 8.25. So I need to make this 8.25. Actually, I will tidy that edge first. I'm praying that this cuts okay. It's a little bit ratty. It kind of shreds rather than a neat straight cut, which doesn't really make me happy. I don't know what else to do though. Okay, now which edge? I think I'll go with that edge. So I'm cutting these at 2.5 inches, and I would like 3 of them. And I must say, I went to have something to eat, and I was like, that last, oh, I dropped the blade out of the cutter. That last part of the video, or sorry, first part of the video, I was all over the shop. I really, my thought process is all over the shop at the moment. I don't know why. I do feel like I have a lot of projects on the go at the moment, so my head's kind of racing between projects. It's not going to be enough. So 8 1/4. Tidy that edge. I actually have a rather large pile of things to my left at the moment. And I was thinking earlier, it doesn't pay to have lots of projects on the go at once, because that is the result of lots. I've got a big pile about this high on my desk to my left, and then on my right on the table next to me I've got another pile about this high. Yes, so no wonder my mind's a scatterbrain. But it is what it is, really. So I was thinking too, I did start to talk to you about the tea stain paper, I think. I don't know whether I actually mentioned it or whether I just looked at it and thought about it and then didn't say anything. So now that I've got these cut, I want to put some gesso on these. And I'm just using, it's a Derivan or Derivan gesso. I picked this up at Spotlight. Or you can make your own, and I have a spatula. So I don't have to add the gesso to this, but because I like those sides, they've got a bit of texture. Because I've got the tea stain paper that has quite a bit of white, and I don't have, I'm missing my palette. Which is of course my tile. I have no room. I have things surrounding me as usual. Now I've lost my train of thought again. Because I have quite a bit of white on the tea stain paper that I'm using, I want to tone down the brown, but I still want to have the depth of the colour showing. And I don't think I'm going to ink. I hope you're all sitting down for that. I was thinking about it while I was having something to eat, and I kind of needed to make a decision. As much as I was asking you guys for your opinion, I suddenly went, if I'm making these at the end of this video, which I had planned to do, I kind of need to make a decision before I make these, because I would need to ink these if I was going to ink. So then I was like, well, I need to decide what I'm doing. I need to make a decision, guys. I'm making a mess, I can see that. This is probably going on a little bit thicker than I planned to, but I like it. I think it will work really nicely. Okay, and one more. I'll put the lid back on that. I think I have enough. I've also got, true confessions, I've got cups of water for different projects on my right hand side on the table, at the front of the table, and I'm trying to be really mindful of what I'm doing and what I'm putting over there, because I'm really scared that they're going to spill. I seem to have a lot of stuff going on right now. I guess that's what happens when you're just playing. It was lots of fun actually, because I would have a little play with something, and I've just got a piece of paper here that I've been using to add my extra gesso to. I'd play with an idea, and I might sit down to watch a YouTube video, or I might see something online and be inspired by it and decide I wanted to try something else, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, I believe it's been a long time since I've just come into my craft space and played. I should have, that was silly, I should have put my piece of paper down and gessoed over the top of it. Remind me next time to do that, now that I've got that piece of paper on the go. That would have made a whole lot of sense. Okay. So while they dried just for a moment, I wanted to show you, if I can find in my pile. Okay, so I have my, my space is getting smaller and smaller. I'll see if I can pop this away. At this very moment, I'm wishing that I actually did clean my workspace, but then I got busy playing, and yeah, I'm kind of wishing I'm not wishing I didn't play, but I'm wishing I had have maybe cleaned up a little better or something. I don't know. I had this tea stain paper here that, as I said, it was air dried, and it has a lot of wrinkling in it. And I was watching something on YouTube just recently, I think it was. Might have been Facebook. Anyway, somebody was saying that they don't like to use the papers when they have wrinkles. Now, I can appreciate that. They were saying they didn't like using them in their journals because people can't write on them. So I looked through and I was like, most of them are wrinkled. Nearly every one. So I'm just going to grab one. I'm hoping you can see. I will look through the camera just to see if you can see what I can. Yes, so you can see the wrinkling. It's reasonably deep, and when I run my finger across it, you can feel it. It has a ridge there, and I was like, I agree, it would be difficult to write over. Your pen might catch or whatever. What I did, I actually used quite a few wrinkled ones in my papers here, and you can see some of the wrinkling. But what I've done is I've just grabbed my bone folder, and I have just run my bone folder across these wrinkles. So these papers, when I air dried them, as I said, they were spread out on a table to air dry, and when they were, some were dry and some were partially dry, I stacked them on top of each other, and I set them between some baking paper, just like this here, and I had one on the bottom and one on top, and then I stacked a couple of big heavy books over the top of them, and I left them overnight, and that did press a lot of the curl out of the paper, but it didn't take away the wrinkle. And so I was looking at them and I was like, it's such a waste to not be able to use them in my journal. And some of them are more difficult to do this than others, obviously. But I literally just ran my bone folder across the wrinkles, and if I could see, so this one here, the ridge kind of goes like that. So I work against that ridge, and I'm adding a reasonable amount of pressure. And when I rub my finger across there now, there is still a slight texture, but that ridge is almost gone. Like, it's quite smooth to touch. And so those pages went into my journal. I'm pretty happy with that. It's really hard to show on camera just how smooth they feel now. A little something on there. But seriously, the slightest rise, and that's about all. So I was excited about that, and I wanted to share with you. I don't know whether you've ever come across that. I don't know if anybody out there has any other solutions to that problem. I tried ironing the wrinkles out, didn't really make any difference, so I ruled that out as an option. And yes, tried the bone folder and it worked beautifully, so I was happy with that. Okay, so I know in here somewhere so I was thinking about these bookmarks. And I haven't cut them out. And I'm thinking I would like to use the scissors. And I don't like having... I think I might use these three here actually. I'm going to clip that on. I've got the fan going, the ceiling fan, and I'm like, that little piece of paper is going to get... Now I could tear this, which for me is much easier because my scissors are not the best. And I do have my little Fiskars scissors, but for cutting straight lines, I do prefer these bigger ones. They're a little stiff at the moment. I don't really know why. So I decided because the edges of my papers are not torn and they're not inked, that I would cut these rather than tear them. Just to, oh, I'm hoping it sort of keeps them in unison. I have no idea. I may do this and decide that I want it. So I think I want to put it at an angle like that. I'm just trying to decide whether I want to ink. I really can't decide. I'm so torn, guys. I am so torn. Part of me is like, does it look finished if it's not inked? And I'm like, do I just do the outside of the pocket or the tuck spot? Do you know what? I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to prep these all off camera. I'm going to save this video and upload it and leave it open to the power of suggestion in the next, say about 12 hours or so, and see what you guys think, because I just cannot decide. Like I said, part of me is saying don't ink, but part of me is really torn with the idea of not inking. I think for me, part of me feels like I'm not finished. It's not finished properly. If I have that like that. I'm just trying to get the big picture right now. Oh, that's pretty. Hoping I'm in camera. I just realised I've changed my chair too, and it doesn't have wheels, so I'm finding that really difficult. I might have to move back to my other chair. Okay, so where's some paper clips? I'm just noticing my brown paper is a little bit taller than I need it. Ah, that's better. Now I can get a better visual. Okay, so tell me what you think. Comment below and let me know what you think. Ink or no ink? And if you decide on ink, let me know. I really hope I refocused that. Let me know whether you think I should do my normal ink application, which is reasonably heavy, or just a light touch. I'll be interested to see what you have to say. Okay, thank you for helping me decide. I hope somebody comments so I have some feedback. That could be awkward. Okay, I look forward to seeing you all soon, everybody. Happy crafting. Bye for now.